How to use the Guardian Shield. The Guardian Shield is a brand new item in Fortnite that can be used both in build mode and zero build of Fortnite. Don't listen to what people are saying if they say the item is bad. The item is very dynamic and it can be used in both game modes, but it depends on other people's playstyles as well as how sweaty servers are on how well you can actually use it. This item can be considered OP and it can be considered the meta if you use it correctly. And there's plenty of techniques and key things you want to be keeping in mind while using this item. Before I get into these things and talk about the separate game modes of how you want to use it in zero builds versus build mode, I need to explain how it's used when you want to fight with it. So first of all, the Guardian Shield you can hold out to defend yourself. Now this will block all shots and you can move while doing this. So it's a brilliant item for that. Typically for myself, if I'm going to loot someone I just killed, I will be holding this out to defend myself. Now, if I'm in an area where I have a natural mountain or a natural wall behind me, I will throw down the shield and then I will heal them. Now, this shield can also be used for taking capture points without using mat. Zero build mode is just for taking capture points, putting yourself in a corner and propping it up, as well as allowing yourself to get a little bit of an unfair advantage on someone else. If someone's close to you, you can maybe pop out the shield and then use it to walk through doors. You can walk through doors while holding out the shield. When throwing down the shield and playing close range fights, you want to be using the shotgun only. Now, this is very similar to Apex Legends. If you ever fought in a Gibby dome before, or you ever use a Gibby bubble in order to fight, it's the same circumstance. What you want to do is when the shield is down, you want to push through it just enough so your gun's peeking through and then take a shotgun shot and step back away from the person. If you're both fighting each other side to side, doing it inversely so you're always on the opposite sides is the best way to play it. You want to line up that shotgun for a headshot and then peek through and hit it and then go back into cover very, very quickly. The reason you don't want to be using an SMG is they can move from side to side of the barrier very, very easily. So you want to hit those big shots while you can. The Guardian Shield has two use cases. You can hold it in your hand to defend yourself, or you can throw it down and move around it. Do note it has a time limit while you're holding it out or throwing it down on the ground, and you don't want this to exhaust itself because then you won't be able to use the shield for a certain amount of time. So try not to do this. Do note if you try to pick up two of these items or switch between these items, it will put a cooldown on the shield that will be 10 seconds and you don't want to disable this. So you can only carry one of these at a time and there's no point switching it out because it's better to wait for it to recharge than that cooldown to run out. If you're holding up the shield in front of your hand and someone is shooting at it, those shots don't make the shield's level go down any faster. It still goes down at the same normal rate. In order for your shield to start recharging, you have to stop using it for a certain amount of time. This is about a total of 5 seconds. So if you keep pulling out your shield and then dropping it and then shooting, thinking that every time you drop it to shoot it's going to recharge, that's not the case. You have to wait 5 seconds of no use of the shield before it starts recharging at all. It seems to go down at a rate of around 5% per second, so you can use the shield for about 20 seconds before it's completely depleted. Also, while using the shield in duos, trios and squads, if you're holding out the shield in front of you and a teammate standing next to you, your teammate can shoot through it. Players are quite unsure at the moment whether this is an intended mechanic or a bug. I'd leave it to be an intended mechanic, but it can be quite overpowering, so make sure you try it out. One of the best ways forwards to be using this is for you to hold out your shield, your teammate to shoot through it at another team, and then when your shield drops, your teammate to pull out their shield and then you shoot at the enemy team. This will give you about 40 seconds completely of firing, but if your shield does deplete all the way, you have to wait a total of 10 seconds before it starts recharging at all. So you have to wait that 10 seconds and then it will start going up, and there will be a timer on it during that time once it hits 0. So when someone hits a Shockwave hammer, not only does the hammer's head have the ability to hit you, but it also does an area of damage, similar to a grenade or a rocket launcher shot. Now, the hammer can hit you through the shield, but it's only if the head of the hammer hits you. If you pull out your shield and the head of the hammer doesn't hit you, the area of damage that the Shockwave normally does, similar to a grenade, cannot hit you and the shield will protect you from it. The best way to do this, if you see someone approaching with a Shockwave hammer going for a hit, to quickly pull out your shield, then take a couple steps backwards and do a little jump. This will avoid the area of damage being hit on you, and then the person will be wide open for a free shot. So while using this item in zero build or Fortnite, it can be used in many dynamic ways. My favorite one is using it as an offensive item to push and hit people. It's important to note this item is not absolute cover. You can't just stand out in the open, use this, shoot someone and then win a fight. The way you want to be using it is how you'd play normal zero builds. Use it while moving towards a tree or towards where a person is and using natural cover. So a tree, a building, a rock, a mountain. The reason you want to use this cover is because you're going to have to eventually drop the shield in order to shoot. Even if you go to throw the shield mid-fight, there's going to be a few seconds of where you're exposed and it doesn't pop out instantly. So you want to make sure you have this natural cover. So you're using the shield going towards where a tree is and then dropping it, pulling it out, hitting a shot, or moving so close to someone's face, holding out the shield and then jumping around them or moving around them in a way where it's hard for them to track you and then dropping the shield and pulling out a shot. You're more likely to trade damage in that circumstance, but it's another technique that you can use for it. I use the shield a lot when trying to take capture points in zero build mode. Having myself in a corner where I can't get hit from and holding it out is great. And as well as if I need a heal after a big fight, making sure my back has cover behind it, either a mountain or towards the back of zone, throwing out the shield and then healing. You can also use the shield to throw it out on top of a vehicle and then drive and have cover while pushing towards someone. So if you ever want to push someone recklessly with a vehicle with cow catchers or chonkers on it and they're looking at you or trying to shoot you, you can simply throw the shield on it and then push and not get hit or damaged while in the driver's seat. This item is going to work really well in trios, duos and squads of zero build, as you're going to be able to protect your teammates while you're rezzing them, and you can be rezzing them out in the open if you have at least 2 people holding out the shields or 1 person moving around them covering them with shields, as well as allowing your teammates to loot, holding out a shield while they're looting, or holding out a shield while they finish a fight if you're getting third partied from range. Overall, personally, I believe this item works better as a handheld item than it does throwing it down, but when playing team game modes, throwing this down and then everyone being able to shoot rather than 1 person defending but having the item defend and 4 people shoot will work a lot better. When it comes to build mode of Fortnite, this can replace your builds in a sense. Yes, there is a little bit of a cooldown time when you pull out the shield and then drop it to shoot people, but if you're typically native as zero build player and you want to get into build mode, there's no better time to do it. You can be using this item as your so-called builds, and what this can do is it can train you to understand when to edit, because when you drop the shield you can pretend that's an edit, or how other people play, how people use covers and how people move around builds, and you can kind of watch that and maneuver it and use a different play style to try and challenge them. This item can be great, say if you've just third partied someone that's on the outside of a box and you want to push into a box to grab the loot, but you're worried about the person editing a wall pushing you. Holding out the shield very simply means that even if they edit on you, they won't be able to hit a shot and you can just push into that box and take the loot. Also, if you're low on mats, this is a great item to make sure that you don't run out of those mats, or it allows you to move into a better location in order to farm more mats without getting hit by other people. Or if you're worried about getting third partied in the back and you don't want to waste a lot of mats, you can throw it down behind you and then turn to fight the person that you want to fight. In box fights or build mode or Fortnite, if someone takes your wall, you can simply pull out the shield when they go to do an edit to defend yourself. So rather than being constrained by the building grid that is on the map of Fortnite, you are now constrained by your shield and where you are placed inside that box. Similarly, if someone breaks into your box and is trying to finish you and they're right in front of your face, you don't have to worry about building or editing out when someone's right in your face right now, or trading an equally better or harder shot, but you can simply pull out the shield and wait for them to deplete their ammo or to reload, or to pull out your shotgun or your SMG and hit some good shots back on them. This item can be used completely as a replacement for builds, and if you get the timing down right, it can work out really well for you. If you ever need to figure out the binds for it, just make sure your contextual tips are on in your settings and it will say it on the left side of your screen. I would tell you the buttons to press, but everyone's keybinds are different. For me, it's just left and right click the left click, and then I hold out the shield, I click this button to aim it, and then I click it again to throw it down, and then my F button is pick up. But everyone's keybinds are different, so have contextual tips on and it will show on your screen on the left side what the buttons are, as well as when you throw the shield down, when you get close enough to it, it will tell you what button it is to pick it up. Do note there's a little bug at the moment as well. If an enemy throws down a shield and you kill them, the shield can despawn or get stuck in the air. If the shield does deplete when you're throwing it out, you can pick it back up and it just takes a while to charge. But in the circumstance of an enemy doing that and you take out the enemy, sometimes you can't pick up the shield because it just disappears. Another thing that's really important to note when throwing down the shield, if you're switching from holding it in your hand and then you go to throw it down, there's this really weird delay in between. So when you go to throw it, you actually have to wait a few seconds before clicking. You have to wait for your shield to go down completely from your hand, then you have to aim it, and then you have to throw it. What I found is sometimes I go to do this and then like my character glitches and I pull out the shield twice when I wanted to throw it, or it doesn't pull out at all and then I just get beamed because I'm standing out in the open. Throwing down your shield is not a quick task or a quick thing that you can do in between stuff. It's more something that has to be planned and thought out. Unless you're under the circumstance of not holding out your shield first and you're about to get in a fight, or someone's approaching your team if you're playing squads or trios, then you just throw it. If you're holding it out first and then you go to throw it, it's gonna mess up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this new item. Hopefully these few tips helped you out here and there. I know I can make it a lot more of an advanced guide, but I think this basic one can get people's mind wrapped around it and get people thinking in a sense of how they want to be using this item. So hopefully it has helped you out. If it has any shape or form, or you want more Fortnite content, including challenge videos, tip videos, everything else in between, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.